Welcome to Marketing Demystified, the podcast that connects the dots for business leaders to drive revenue through effective marketing strategy. We chat with marketing experts on different topics that will help you ramp up your revenue. We stream live on LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube, and you can listen to us on your favorite podcast platforms. Marketing Demystified, the podcast, is presented to you by GrowGetter, your partner in growth marketing. And here's today's episode.
Hello, everyone. Are you ready to be inspired, informed, and empowered with actionable tips to transform your marketing game? You're in the right place. Welcome to Marketing Demystified. I'm your host, Jenn Mancusi, CEO and co-founder of GrowGetter, your growth marketing partner. You've probably used AI for written content like LinkedIn posts, emails, blog content, or other kinds of efficiencies in your business. But when it comes to video marketing, whether that's ads, social media shorts, product demos, things like that, most teams still don't know how to use AI effectively. Wistia recognized this and surveyed over 500 video marketers to find out how teams are navigating AI to streamline production workflows, create higher quality videos, and engage audiences. Today, I'm joined by Sam Balter, head of content at Wistia and former director of media at ZoomInfo. Sam has produced and marketed several podcasts for B2B brands, including hosting the award-winning podcast, Weird Work. And today he's walking us through the findings from their AI video study. You'll learn which AI video marketing tools are worth your time, how teams are scaling production without sacrificing quality, and what separates teams getting results from those just adding tools to the stack. Welcome to the show, Sam.
Thank you so much for having me. So glad to be here.
So excited to have this conversation. We're obviously just talking about AI constantly in all sort of different areas of the marketing universe. And
Welcome to Marketing Demystified, the podcast that connects the dots for business leaders to drive revenue through effective marketing strategy. We chat with marketing experts on different topics that will help you ramp up your revenue. We stream live on LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube, and you can listen to us on your favorite podcast platforms. Marketing Demystified, the podcast, is presented to you by GrowGetter, your partner in growth marketing. And here's today's episode.
hello, everyone. Are you ready to be inspired, informed, and empowered with actionable tips to transform your marketing game? You're in the right place. Welcome to Marketing Demystified. I'm your host, Jenn Mancusi, CEO and co-founder of GrowGetter, your growth marketing partner. You've probably used AI in a few different ways, maybe for written content like LinkedIn posts, emails, blogs, things like that. But when it comes to video marketing, ads, social media shorts, or product demos, most teams still don't know how to use AI effectively. Now, Wistia recognized this and surveyed over 500 video marketers to find out how teams are navigating AI to streamline production workflows, create higher quality videos, and engage audiences. Today, I'm joined by Sam Balter, head of content at Wistia and former director of media at ZoomInfo. Sam has produced and marketed several podcasts for B2B brands, including hosting the award-winning podcast, Weird Work. And today, he's walking us through the findings from the AI video study. You'll learn which AI video marketing tools are worth your time, how teams are scaling production without sacrificing quality, and what separates teams getting results from those just adding tools to their stack. Welcome to the show, Sam.
Hello. Really happy to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
I'm so excited to have you on today because we have been talking a lot about AI on the show in all different forms, and we really haven't touched on video at all. So I'm just super excited to have this chat today.
Yes, me too. Video is such a fun topic.
It is a fun topic. So let's start with maybe big picture, how are AI videos made? I don't know, like the production workflow or what even part of the process does AI make sense? Planning, pre-production, all of the different steps. Where's AI actually adding value to the video process?
Yeah, and I mean that's like the big question we had for our ourselves is like we make a lot of video, we experiment with AI a lot, and we found that our customers, our users, they were really trying to navigate like how does AI fit into this flow? Where should I put it into my workflow? And I think one of the things that people have so many questions is because you're seeing just such a huge range. Like people are making video by just typing something into like Nano Banana and getting like a video produced, all the way to just simple things where people are using ChatGPT to help with scripts. People are doing things where they're using kind of like artificial backgrounds or synthetically generated voices. And they're also using it to resize videos, add captions, and accessibility like features. So one of the things you're just seeing with AI and video is like where AI can be applied is anywhere in the video production process. We see people in pre-planning, scripting, actually shooting videos, editing videos, how they distribute those videos. We see AI across the spectrum, and it's used like in very kind of different ways to varying degrees of success. So it's like for us, I think we really are focused on seeing it as AI is obviously a way of impacting it. It's really overwhelming how it fits into the process. So we're trying to like build out this report to make that advice a little bit more tactical about how it's changing.
Yeah, for sure. There are like a lot of, I guess, options, right? If you're thinking about how I want to like explore AI in my workflows, I mean, fill in the blank on anything really, but video too. Like, there's just a lot you could do. And I have tried experimenting with some of the tools that you see ads for on Instagram. They do a great job with
Mhm.
their own video ads. And when you kind of put your inputs in and get something spit out, it's not always like that valuable in my experience, but
Mhm.
there are so many other, like that's not the only way to use AI for video, is to just have an AI tool generate videos for you.
Yeah, and I think like we saw the biggest area of people using AI within pre-production, especially like when we looked at what is the AI tool you use most in your video production process? Our highest one was ChatGPT, right? And it's like a lot of that is going into scripting. And I think like just some use cases that I think are useful for people to get their head around scripting is like you have a blog post and you want to turn it into a short video. You're trying to promote a webinar and you want to turn it into a short video. So you have some sort of asset that you can work on from the script. And then one of the things that's really nice about ChatGPT and other services is like you can ask for the time. Like, I need a 2 minute, I need a 1 minute, I need a 60-second script. And it'll get a lot better than I think people on their own who might not be video professionals at writing that script so it fits that 60-second or 90-second or 2 minute like timeline. So we've noticed things like that for scripting. It can be really helpful. And we're seeing a lot of marketers use it in that area. And I think that's one of those where it's really helping people to get going, to get over that blank page issue and to start getting something on paper. I think your sort of statement more about trying to use AI for video editing, like there are a ton of really great tools out there. And I think they can be really, really helpful. But if you've never really worked in video, if you're never experienced these things before, it's still going to be a little bit overwhelming. But there are things where it's more like you should be very close to your video production process and say like, this narrow area we can really improve on. So examples that I see a lot are people might want to change the background images behind them. They might want to extend the backgrounds or do things like to make the aspect ratios different, or they might want to do small things like add captions to videos a lot more effectively than they used to. Those are all uses of AI. Those are all things that improve your video. They are things that are going to improve your video performance significantly. And they're still like very easy to do, even if you've never done video. And it's like it's a very important step before I'm generating this totally AI or synthetic video.
Yeah, totally. And there's a few things you said there that I think are really key. First of all, I love the pro tip of using, say, ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, and say, write this length of a video, because that is always tricky. I think historically, if I've written a video script, it's always like 17 minutes longer than I want it to be.
Yes. You're like, it's great to just be like, I need a promo and it's a minute and it gives you a minute and you go, that's not how I would say it, but at least you're editing. You're not removing whole paragraphs and pages that you've written in there.
Totally. I can't tell you how many times I'm doing like a draft voiceover just for length, right? Just to see how long it's going to be. Because when you write it, it's always way longer than you think it's going to be. That's such a great pro tip. But what you were saying is like, there's already source content. And I'm a big proponent of this when talking about using AI for written content in any form. And a script would be another form of written content that please don't go into these tools and say, write me a script about X topic. Don't go in there and say, write me a blog article about this keyword. You have to have the input, whether it's a blog article you've already written, or maybe it's a webinar you've conducted and you have the transcript from it, or sometimes I walk my dog and I do voice notes of random things that are happening in my head. There has to be some source content. It doesn't have to be serious, but there has to be something to help create that next thing. And once you have that core piece, you can use AI to reformat it in a lot of different ways. And it sounds like with video, it's the same too. And when you start talking about the video editing piece, you've got a good starting point. Maybe there's adding captions or adjusting the ratios, but just going in and saying, create a video for me about X, Y, and Z maybe isn't really the best approach.
I think it's like, for me, I think when I think about the video stuff, I do feel like, and just AI in general, that you should be using it. You're going to get the most value when you use it in such a way that actually is what you're currently doing. Like if you are not writing blog post, you're not necessarily going to be a good judge if it's writing a good blog post. And so like start getting your hands around video and AI with like just making things that you're already doing slightly nicer, or making things that go like a lot faster. One of the things we looked at in the report is we said, out of teams like adopting AI today, what's the biggest ROI metric? Like, are you getting better performance on your video? Are you getting lower cost? Are you getting all of these other things? And the number one ROI metric was just time saved. And so like, yes, the second one up there was higher viewer engagement. And so when you think about this, it's like, these are things where you're already doing this process and you've already established some sort of benchmark you're trying to beat. And you're going to ask yourself, can AI help me do this quicker? Or can AI help me make something better? Can it up level something that I'm already doing? I think to go from I've never made video to now I'm using AI entirely to make videos, that's a really big jump. And I have a feeling you're going to be a lot better off going for things where you can feel like you could improve the quality or you could save time in the process.
Yeah, for sure. Like incremental improvement.
Incremental things. Like an example I think that's really good is like digital backgrounds. Those have gotten a lot better to be able to add in a bookshelf or add in, a new object. And it like looks really good now. So many people are doing videos from their homes and their homes are messy and ugly and whatever, because they just don't have a studio that they're sitting in. Great. You can now use a digital background to make that situation look nicer, and it looks very good quality. And so it's like small things like that are going to make really big improvements for the video, and they're not going to cost you wholly redoing your house or redoing your apartment or something like that. Like, so I think the more you're kind of looking at it as like these incremental cost savings, time savings improvements, those compound over each video, those compound over everything you're doing. And so you'll see the results really start to pick up.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Those are like, yeah, it's incremental changes. It's not a total like learn how to do all the things all at once.
No.
But I am curious, and it's I think you guys talk about this in the report about the impact that it's having on teams, whether it's a video team or, you know, somebody who maybe hasn't done video before. But how is the uh, kind of availability of AI changing the workforce dynamics around this kind of stuff? Are you seeing shifts in terms of who's actually creating videos and, you know, what people are doing in-house versus what people are outsourcing to video agencies? Like,
Mm.
what's the impact there?
Yes, this is to be seen entirely. So I think like one of the things we also track at Wistia is we have our state of video report. And one of the things we've been asking a lot is, you know, who creates video at your company? Is it agencies? Is it specific video producers? Or is it other people who are not video producers, but they've become responsible for video? Maybe they're a marketing team of one or something like that. And what we've noticed is basically in-house teams every year are getting more and more. Like it's moving more and more to in-house teams are responsible. And we're both seeing an increase in marketing teams having video producers, so having dedicated video producers on their teams. And we're also seeing an increase in people saying, I'm responsible for video and I am not a video producer. And then at the same time, so basically what we're seeing is like, oh, wow, AI is like teams are really kind of everyone on the team is working on video. And that's like a long-standing trend. But this last year, we've seen that trend accelerate. And when we look at people using AI, adoption is over 90% for people who work on videos. They've tried AI in different situations. And I think what you're seeing is that it is changing a lot of right now we're changing like giving you the capacity to do something you didn't do before. People I think are also getting that now as a directive. Okay, now we're going to use you to make videos, to edit videos, to create different versions of things on in-house teams. And that is also shifting the dynamics of how agencies work significantly.
Mm.
And I think one of the things that like this is more of a prediction. I don't really have this like totally locked into the data, but you see like the adoption for agencies using AI is really, really high. You see the adoption for in-house teams using AI is really, really high. And I think one of the things is agencies are going to have to figure out I think there's a lot of agencies that have become basically like chop shops for videos where it's just like you give them a video, they chop it up into a million pieces, and then they give you those million pieces of video back. You post them on social and it looks great and all that. But if a lot of that could be accomplished by AI now or by in-house teams, that's going to change the dynamic of what the agencies will do. And I think it's like the agencies are becoming maybe more strategic, maybe more thoughtful, maybe they specialize in different ways. But I think that's one of the things that we're really seeing is like more teams are becoming responsible for the video. More teams are expected to adopt AI in that process. And I think it's going to change over the next couple of years, the relationship between in-house teams and agencies when it comes to video.
Hmm. I feel like we're sort of in a place similar to like what Canva did for design.
Mm-hmm.
Is like it's not gotten rid of design agencies, but it has allowed for a lot of design work to be done by non-graphic designers. And I'll tell you, just in our own business, we have a full-time graphic designer who does stuff way better than anybody else on the team can do, but she can create templates for the rest of us to use, and the team can then go in and create their own graphics at a you know, and that's not even like that's the most basic level, right? Like go in and change text on stuff. But Canva was the tool that kind of opened that up for teams to be able to do more.
Yeah. And I mean, we're seeing it like for us in clipping is like we have a big webinar platform and we're really into being able to use your videos on demand. We have various clipping tools and we're building out that kind of like library of things. But it's like, is our video team necessarily the one who needs to clip every single webinar? Like, no, I run a lot of the webinars. I'm in a lot of the webinars. Like I can clip them just as easily. It's all in our brand guidelines and it's approved. And I think that's something where you might go, would this work go to an agency? Would this work go to somebody else? Or now, because of AI, because of some of these tools, I'm a little more enabled or empowered.
Right.
That being said, like, I don't think this is like, I think some people around AI will say these really like offensive, this is the death of, like this is the death of agencies. This is the death of Hollywood. This is the death of whatever, like motion graphics are done. Like these are ridiculous statements that make almost no sense to me. Like everybody's still going to need agencies. Everybody is going to want to partner with people in different ways. Video is so critical. It still involves like, human faces are still good. Setting up shoots is still a pain in the ass. Using cameras is still confusing for a lot of people. And so like, I think we're never going to live in this world where it's like all of a sudden agency work goes away. We're just going to live in this world where like, I think over the next couple of years, what task in-house teams do and what task agencies do is going to change. And I think to navigate that situation, the people who are going to navigate it best are going to be like teams, in-house teams that are open to change, that are willing to adjust their workflow, that are willing to evaluate their thing, and agencies that are doing the same. And if you have a good relationship between a good agency and a good in-house team, like that is immensely valuable. How the work shakes out is going to be beneficial because it's more efficient, but nothing's going away in my mind.
I agree with you. I think there's a lot of doom and gloom and fear, and I get that. It's fair, but I think the opportunity is to figure out whether you're an in-house video production person or an agency, like what is the value that I as a human bring to the process.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, there are some things that are just time savers or make things more efficient or enable other people to do certain work. So what is the thing that you think a human brings to the process that like gives you that value above and beyond what the AI can do?
Yeah, what does the human bring? I think it's like one thing that got interesting is I was reading an article the other day about player pianos, like basically where you have the player piano has a role and you can
Yes.
program it in. When the player piano came out, apparently a lot of people talked about it in similar terms to AI production. They said, this is going to be the end of the pianist. Like, why? Anybody can now play at basically a concert level because of this thing. And then people started going even further, where composers started writing things for the player piano because you could stretch your fingers out. Like a player piano isn't constrained in the same way. It could hit 12 keys at once where you could only hit 10, like you're limited. But that never materialized. Like creatives resist everything, like they are never going to necessarily be usurped entirely by some machine. Like we're not all like player pianos are in museums and there's more pianists now than there ever have been. And so it's like, I think for some of the things about like what makes AI or what makes these things really unique, it's like you as a human live in the world and you react to things, you feel emotions about things in a way that robots just can't. And you could bring those emotions, you could bring that stuff into your work. Like one thing I saw about that I thought was really helpful just about writing is somebody says like AI writes every sentence correctly. Whereas a writer, you can feel them getting exhausted and you can feel them getting excited in an article. And as the reader, you just feel it. You're like, oh, this part's dragging. And then it's like, oh, this part's really exciting because you can feel behind the scenes that there's a human who had those emotions. And so like, we really recognize that like, yes, there's a lot of amazing things. I don't think this is the death of or any sort of negative effect towards creatives. But I will say like when we asked people like, what are your biggest concerns with AI? The number 2 concern was fear of AI replacing or diminishing human roles. So it's like, it's very important to recognize with AI and AI adoption that this is a top fear of people. It's something they're really concerned about. But I think it's like when you're actually getting into the practitioner world of it, it's nothing. I would say like humans are always going to add something unique. They're always going to add a twist to it. And they're always going to, in some ways, going to be able to do something that the AI wouldn't have thought of, or they're going to be able to speak or act or write in a way that feels more human because they are humans. And so like, I think that's one of the things where I see is like, we have no concern about being like totally removed from the situation. The last thing I do want to say on this that I have been thinking a lot about when it comes to AI is like, I think a lot of businesses should think about their market size. And I think for Wistia, like we're a relatively small company. We have about 200 people or so, a little less than 200 people. If everybody became 10 times more productive at Wistia, like every single person, that would mean our company was kind of like a 2,000 person company. And then I think about it and it's like, if we were a 2,000 person company, would we saturate the market? Would we overrun everything? It's like, no. There's still plenty of market like space if we were a 200 or a 2,000 person company. And so I think for a lot of small businesses, a lot of agencies, a lot of different people out there, they're wondering, oh my God, if everything's so much more productive, what am I going to do? It's like, well, if there was 10 times more people here, would you be out of a job? Probably not. You would probably be doing more exciting things. You would probably be doing like bolder campaigns. You'd probably have time to do more creative stuff. And so it's like, I think when people look at like their unique humanness and like what they add to the process, it's like people should probably be pretty excited about this stuff for the most part.
Yeah, for sure. It's an interesting way to think about it because if you think about like, okay, maybe you're a team of one, imagine what you would do if you had 10 people reporting to you. Like, what are the things that you would delegate to them? And what are the things that you would continue to work on or do more of? And maybe thinking of it like that feels exciting, right? I'm going to grow my team. We're going to produce so much more and have a bigger impact on our business. I think the people that are maybe a little afraid of things, sort of AI taking over their jobs are the ones that are holding on to those tasks they should be delegating.
Yeah, they're holding on to things. And also like, I think the conversation gets really skewed unless you get into specifics. So it's like, here's the specific. Removing the background from a static image so that you just have a headshot is annoying. It's an annoying process to do. Like you got to open up Adobe, you got to do Magic Lasso around the person. It's like now with AI, you can just drop it in and say, remove the background. Is that a loss of creativity? Like is some huge thing being lost in this process? Like, I don't think so. Like if it's create an Asana task, like I can ask AI to create a Asana task for me now. I can ask AI to do data analysis for me. I can ask AI to we do a lot of using AI for storyboarding. And I think that that's a really, really effective things where it's like, we'll make AI slop videos, but like they are just to sort of show possible directions a video could go. So like that's another way that I think like people should, if you're starting to experiment with AI and like you're doing past the basic stuff of like captions and other things like that, like captions, improving the video, maybe adding animations, maybe like remixing certain videos or repurposing videos. Another area that you could just sort of start thinking about is like using AI to storyboard higher production, more creative videos so that you can see those options more visibly. And I think that that's a really interesting like use case for AI and something that people should, even at a small business, should start looking into more.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it is helpful to kind of bring those earlier stage iterations to life for, other people to make decisions or to guide the direction.
Yeah, like we had this webinar wizard campaign, and it was like this idea was this that there's this big, it was like a big whole thing where we were going to go and we're going to film it, and there's like a wizard and a song, and it's going to be this big ad. Well, it's like before we show up on that, we had generated like the video team at Wistia had like generated a lot of AI video of scene by scene of how that could work. We also did similar things with like a complete control set of videos. Like we'd storyboard them out. And what that means though, is that when you are paying money to have camera crews and actors and a set, you feel a lot more confident going into that shoot when you have like actual images that people can look at. And so I think like the AI, hopefully, especially in storyboarding and preparation, should give people a lot of comfort when they're going for higher production stuff. And I think it should make people feel more comfortable about taking those swings.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm curious about this wizard campaign because I remember this. I think you presented on it when we were at Inbound.
Yeah.
And there were actually elements that made it into the ad that were AI generated. Isn't that right?
Sort of. So we
Yeah.
filmed the whole thing, right? We filmed, like we prepped, we did everything, we filmed the whole thing. It's great. And then we're like, we want to get more. We want to repurpose this video content. So a really simple example was we wanted a vertical version of the wizard doing something. We had the wizard, but we didn't have the vertical version of him, and we didn't have him in the right background. So now all of a sudden we can generate this background that the wizard is in. And the wizard didn't, because he was only shot for this one section up here. He needed pants. So it's like, okay, artificially generate some pants for this wizard and give him like a belt, like an artificial belt. And so it's like the wizard is real. His voice is real. That's real. The pants, the belt, the background isn't. But what it meant was you're at a dilemma. Do we reshoot this? Do we reshoot it? Do we do it? Do we not do the ads? Or do we do this minor tweak where we like improve it? We use a little bit of AI within the post-production. It's not getting rid of any of the real human elements, but now we have an actual vertical video, and it's like, that's why I'm so keen on this, like repurposing and like getting more out of the content that you have. Because at Wistia, we're really investing into like, we really want high quality stuff that lasts a really long time. And then sometimes to be able to go back on some of that stuff, tweak it, edit it, change it a little bit, like hugely valuable, because our options were either don't do it or pay a lot of money to redo it. And it's like, that now that there's this third option where it's like spend a little bit of time with AI, updating it post-production, great. Now we have a whole new kind of way to get stuff out of these videos.
For sure. For sure. I could see this being so beneficial too. I love that story, first of all. And I love, maybe we can like link to the videos or something, but I remember seeing them in person and everyone trying to guess like what part of the video is AI, and like nobody thought it was the pants, right?
Yeah, nobody thought it was the pants. Everybody's like, everybody was like, the wizard's not real, which is like this other kind of strange thing where people just think that things that are real aren't real now, which that's concerning. But like, it was really funny in the audience because I actually thought we were going to get killed. I was like, no, I think people will probably know, or people will guess, but like very few people were shouting out the pants. Right. Some people noticed the background, but I think that's because they had heard about it. Like it wasn't enough to kind of do it, but that stuff is really accessible, especially to a small business or somebody that might not go into that world or not try something like that because of the cost, because of the risk.
Yeah. And I could see that being really beneficial in like an ad testing environment too, where, whether you're kind of doing those AI storyboards earlier on and testing earlier stages of things before the big production, or you do the big production, you put it into testing and you find there's something people are reacting really strongly towards, positive or negative, and maybe we need to make some tweaks. And again, to your point, do you not fix it, or do you go back and spend a lot of money and time to reshoot it or whatever, that gives you more options to actually make something that's really meets the kind of audience needs, if that's what
And I think one that I'm actually really excited about or find to be just like the potential, the change here is so huge. It's like we rolled out last year, like dubbing, the ability to dub videos in different languages using AI. So it's really cool. It both like, it looks at the transcripts, it translates the transcript into a different language, it matches your voice and basically clones your voice, and then figures out how to get the everything within what you're saying in a different language at the same or similar speed. And then it also updates your lips so that your lips are moving like as if you are saying those things. And to your point about like, how do we meet the audience where they are? How do we get more out of this stuff? For us at Wistia, like we have data that'll show what language somebody's web browser is in. So it's like if their web browser is in Spanish or in French or in stuff like that. We can also see which people are clicking on the videos. So now we have this ability where it's like if we're seeing a particular page within our website that's getting a lot of traffic from a different country and it has a marquee video on it, we can just press a few buttons and now that video is dubbed in the language of the person who's watching. So it knows that the browser is in French, it knows that there's a French translation available. And when the French person hits play, the person starts talking in French. And it just seems like this is like a really great opportunity for businesses who are maybe expanding overseas or might have a multilingual audience where they might just say like, oh, this is something that, again, wasn't really accessible, would have required reshoots, would have required translation. It's like now much better and something that gives you a new option and a new way to market that isn't like a ton of work for you to spin up. So that's another thing that if you're a marketer and your audience looks like that, you should definitely consider using like dubbing or AI dubbing to help like basically expand into that area.
Yeah, that's a really cool use case. And I'm curious, I want to talk about like some of the different tools, and we've talked about some different features and different things to do, but when we think about, I'm super curious about video personalization, and what you've just described is a great example of that. But in terms of the technology, there's a varying degree, I think, of success with some of these things. There's been a lot of like, when you're talking about the dubbing and like how it adjusts to your lips, like I actually find AI videos, the mouth is the biggest problem. Like I can always tell when it's AI because it has a hard time with the mouth. And we've tested out some tools that do like the eye contact thing.
A little scary.
What's that?
It's a little scary. It's a little odd sometimes.
Yes, it's like they don't blink. Like like it looks good for a minute, and then after a while you're like, this person's not blinking. It's a problem, right? So I guess like what are some of the tools and technology out there that you're seeing that is working well? What are some of the best? I know you're not the video guy at the video company, but we already talked about ChatGPT and the sort of applications for that. What are some of the other tools that people might be using?
Yeah, one of the things that we have just within the AI report is like basically we surveyed within the areas of like planning, pre-production, production, post-production, and then like publishing and repurposing. Basically, like what tool you use at every single stage. And so like I definitely would encourage like people to like get the report and look through it. I think when we think about like some of the things we use or are commonly used here at Wistia, it's like we use a lot of, I'd say, Claude and ChatGPT for everything within the planning stage of stuff. When it gets into pre-production, that's when we're starting to use more things like Runway, and Nano Banana. Those things are helping us to like generate. Mid-Journey is similar. Like those things are helping us to generate basically some of those really basic storyboards that we can use. We're seeing things for like these other services like Synthesia that help with things around voice and being able to update and change voices and all that kind of stuff. 11 Labs is very similar. That's in like kind of voice production. So like, and then anything within distribution. So like Capsule is really good there. Descript is a really great tool for editing. There's just like a lot. There's every day there's more tools, and a lot of the tools are also growing in functionality where it's like they could do more and more stuff each day. Sora is another thing that can generate videos. Like there's just so much that these things can, there's so many tools out there of what you could do. I think some of the ones that we like think about a lot, like some of the ones that I think people are really interested would be like things that are avatars like Hey Jen and stuff like that. So for me, there's no shortage of tools. I would say it's definitely find the area of the video production process that is actually slowing you down as the audience. Like, where are you getting caught up? And then find a tool. I wouldn't just start looking at every single video tool and saying like, what do I need to like, oh, this would be great, this would be great, this would be great. Like, try and find again, what are you actually doing and what part of that process, and then what tool can help you fix that. I think a lot of them out there now are like really awesome and like really incredible. And it can be overwhelming to like jump in between all the different pieces.
Yeah, it is overwhelming. And I think there's like so many, there's so many changes happening with the different tools like every day. We just had an episode a couple of weeks ago where I interviewed Ethan King, and he wrote a book about ChatGPT. And on the show, he's like, now I'm kind of a Claude guy, right? Like it just, all of the new releases that are coming out are like changing the game so much, whether it's on the underlying LLMs or it's on the technology in the tools themselves. So there's like, not only is there like a laundry list of thousands of these tools to test, but like the one that's good today maybe gets surpassed by another one tomorrow. Like there's not a clear leader of like, everybody should be using X for video, for AI video.
Yeah, there's just not. I don't think that there is. I think they update like Nano Banana, Mid Journey and Runway were really big. Then Nano Banana came out. Then that kind of affects how people are looking at Mid Journey. Then, like all of a sudden you have 11 Labs. Then you have other people who do voice. There's just, I think if you get caught up in that, you're changing your job from being a marketer to basically being like an analyst. Like, what are you doing? What do you do? What is the point of testing these things? Your job is to make videos or get engagement on social, like not to be demoing tools all day. So it's like, that's why it's like, I'm really hesitant to people of finding things that fit in your workflow that are like established companies that you can trust are going to be around for like a while. And that like, they are spanning several problems you have today. Like if you have several problems, great. This is going to be a great tool. A super simple example is like, there are tons of really great editing tools, fantastic editing tools that you can throw in a video and then you can get a bunch of clips. A lot of them don't give you a transcript of the video. Like a lot of them, like there are a lot of tools out there that it's like even basic things, the ability to add captions, the ability to add transcripts, the ability to do these other things are missing. So it's like, you got to find again, like, is this a point solution that's fitting into a larger tech stack? Is this something that you're hoping to like build out a new workflow around? And then like just selecting tools and working on them in a much more focused way.
Mm-hmm. I think it's such an important point to like not get into the business of finding AI tools.
Yeah, like you'd be all day you'd be wondering about like which AI tools, and then you're looking at what benchmarks did things do well. Whereas what you should be looking at is like, did this generate, it's like, I want, this video cut into 3 clips. Do I like these 3 clips?
Right.
Can I get better at getting a prompt that gets me 3 better clips?
Yep.
That's going to be a lot more than reading like reports on benchmarks about how things performed, or potentially reading like gratuitously long Twitter or LinkedIn threads about what people built.
Totally. I feel like I have this conversation a lot where people will say, hey, what tool do you recommend for fill in the blank? And I'm like, this is the one we've been using for like a year. There might be better ones out there, but we've seen no reason to evaluate, right?
Yeah. It's like, and they're all $20. It's like they're, for the most part right now, this is a heavily subsidized by like venture capital money. Like they're all really low cost right now. So like, yeah, sure. It's like, that could be a temptation to try all these, but yeah, it's like, I didn't really look at Claude. I moved from ChatGPT over to Claude, and it's like mostly just because people were like saying, oh yeah, it's good. And I was like, okay, that's great.
Yeah.
It switched. It wasn't that complicated. I was like, great, not a big deal. But like, I didn't really spend a lot of time on it. Got what I wanted from it. Fantastic.
That's it. Well, and let's talk about that, like getting what you want out of the AI videos, like what are the results that we talked a little bit about, like time savings earlier, which I think is a huge benchmark, but how are like videos that have AI in the process performing? Are you seeing any difference in terms of engagement or like video analytics, or are there specific benchmarks that people should be looking to improve by incorporating AI?
Yeah. So one of the things that came up was we surveyed people and we were asked that exact question, like, do you feel like AI is making your videos perform better? I really thought people were going to say no. I thought they were going to say like AI is like, nah, it's not real. People don't like it. But the vast majority of people actually said that AI is making their video engagement better. And I think there's some things to tease apart in that when we got that data. I think for one, for me, I feel like people are seeing that if a video is AI, it gets some engagement because people either love it or hate it.
Hmm.
Like we made an entire AI video that was about Lenny's big day. Like Lenny is one of the dogs at Wistia. And it was previously an old in real life video where Lenny, the dog, carries a video cassette in its mouth all the way over. And that was like a real one. And then we remade that video in using a bunch of different AI tools where it's all digital Pixar style. And we got a lot of visibility on this video. And a lot of it was people being like, I don't like calling this Pixar quality. Some people were saying it's not, good. Other people were saying, oh, this is amazing. So I think to one degree, you're seeing higher engagement on AI videos because when something crosses that line of being like very, very visible AI, it might spark conversation. So that's one part of getting it's whether you want that kind of press or not. I think the second side of AI within video is more like you're improving the backgrounds, you're improving the audio quality, you're improving other things within the video, you're using different elements, or that AI is potentially even scripting better videos than you were scripting yourself. And so what we've seen is people saying like, yes, I am getting more engagement from my videos. I don't have a number right now of like the bench, like we see on average AI videos with this element perform 30% better. But I think one of the things everybody can do if you're trying to run this experiment yourself, Wistia publishes every year. We publish like benchmarks on average video engagement, average video play rate, average clicks, all of that information. So it's very easy to test the videos you've done with AI versus the ones you haven't. And so it's like that'll give you, there are benchmarks for it, but people are, at least marketers are feeling that AI is making their videos perform better.
Yeah. I think that's the most piece, right? It's like, does it actually do anything for you? And, if it does save you time and allows you to produce a higher quantity of videos, but none of them actually get any engagement, then that time savings isn't worth as much. But if you are producing more videos that are performing the same or above what you were previously able to get out there, I'm not big on like industry benchmarks because I
Yeah.
think every company is so different. Your audience is different. Your own internal benchmarks are different. So but like you said, taking some videos that you didn't use AI, comparing them to ones that you did, and maybe with at specific points in the process, is a great way to kind of see do more people engage. And I didn't even think about what you were saying about like improving the audio quality, improving the video quality.
These are also, it's like the AI version is like I type something in and I get a video. And that's like, yes, that's great. That's incredible that we can do that. But like there are so many pieces before that. And I think another thing like we've started looking into more and more is like thumbnail design. Like AI is actually quite a good kind of feedback on things. Like it's another, like a lot of marketers are fortunate enough, like I feel like myself very much fortunate enough to work in a team of creatives where you could show stuff to each other. And you can say, oh, does this video look good? Is this hook good? Is this part good? And you can talk about it. A lot of marketing teams are like, one or two people. It's a small thing. A lot of people are burdened with like a lot of stuff that they have to do. And so like using AI to get sort of best practices or get feedback on different parts of the video is really cool. Like we've used it for thumbnail design, and it'll give feedback of like, hey, you should actually try and make the face bigger, or like, hey, you should maybe try a brighter color here. It's like, oh great, that's great feedback. We did another one where, we're testing an internal like sort of AI bot, and we'll ask it, hey, can you watch this video? And it'll be like, yeah, sure. It'll take the transcript, it'll take screenshots of different like parts within the video to assemble like an understanding of what the video is about, and then give advice of like, oh, the hook in the beginning seems like it could use work. So I think like another use of AI is just to be using it as a feedback agent. People have done that for text really well, but it's starting to work for video as also.
Yeah, that's such an important like maybe misconception to kind of dispel here on the show today. Like, when we say AI video, it doesn't mean videos created by AI.
Not necessarily. Yeah, like it could be, but there's a lot of AI video that's just is helped in the process.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of that stuff, like you were saying, talking about like removing the background from an image in Photoshop back in 2005 was a pain. And
Well,
now it's a one-click situation. And same with cleaning up audio or, improving the kind of the visuals of, making a video brighter or something like that. A lot of that stuff can be done in a click or two, adding the captions. Captions are huge. I think we've mentioned it a couple of times, but I don't know if we've spent enough time on captions because it has a huge impact on the performance of videos. It's certainly in my experience,
yes.
because so many people are watching videos, especially B2B, on mute,
Sound off.
sound off, and having engaging, on brand, captions that sort of have a moment and like call out the most exciting parts of the videos. It just significantly increases engagement. And it's something we don't even think of it as AI anymore. It's just something you do.
Yeah, but it's like to your point of making those captions pop. It's like those are AI things. I'm like, okay, now I don't just want like the black like bar with white text. I want it to be brand colored captions, and I want them to move around in a certain way or do things like all of those are really nice AI additions. Like, and all that stuff would have been kind of a pain to create or like a pain to do. And to the point of like, I will harp on captions all day as like one, it is great that captions allow people to watch it with like the sound off. It's going to improve the engagement rate. It's going to improve the viewer retention rate on those videos. But like, also not everybody can hear. It just makes your videos more accessible. And it's like to take these small steps, like this is like these small steps. I think all the stuff people are doing with like making fully AI videos is so cool and so exciting, but there is so much stuff that's way easier than it used to be. It's way more within your reach and is going to have a really, really noticeable improvement. And those are things that are small, they're easy to do, and they have nothing to do with like kicking a human out of the process. They're just going to make it better.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I want to hear like what not to do. Do you have any like recommendations or anything that came up in the report of like mistakes people are making or like ways not to use AI in video right now?
I think like I'm a huge experimenter. I think everybody should experiment heavily. What I'm concerned, like I'll like one thing I'm concerned about as sort of like a manager and things like that is like I really don't want to just say, okay, great, AI makes you more productive. Awesome. Now do more, right? Like just double what you're doing, just triple what you're doing, all these other things. I think the thing not to do is don't just look at what you read or look at what you have, assume the productivity gains are going to be quick and easy, and assume that they're going to be staying forever. And I think that's the thing that I feel like I really am concerned when I see a lot of these things. Like Harvard published a study about AI burnout, where people who are adopting AI tools are basically getting a lot more work assigned to them. And then they are quickly running into issues where now they're like managing these AI agents. They have a lot more work than they used to, and they're burning out a lot quicker. And so it's like the thing not to do is like don't get to this point where you over push everybody on your team or over and say, I just saw somebody on LinkedIn. Like, if there's anything you shouldn't do, it's if anybody reports to you, don't just go, I saw this thing on LinkedIn. Can we do this? It'd be huge productivity. Let's drop our current workflow. That's a bad idea. That's going to be like, people are going to be upset. Maybe it'll work for a little while. It's going to be a huge distraction. And then people are going to burn out really quickly. So just like, it's so exciting right now. There's so much stuff you could do, but you got to be cognizant about people's fears. You have to be like realistic that people are worried that this is going to have a significant effect on their job or their career path. You have to understand that actually learning these tools is a process. It's not something that happens easily. And it's not something like managing AI agents isn't that far off from managing other people sometimes, because the AI agents don't always work. They do things wrong. They go in the wrong direction. And so it's like, just because you've accomplished or demonstrated some sort of specific use case doesn't mean everything scales exponentially off of that one experiment. It's all going to be iterative. So like, if there's anything not to do, it's don't pick up on these productivity gains and then just immediately ramp to that level. Like, you have to give your team, you have to give yourself time to absorb these changes, because they are significant and they are shifting around work. But doing it too fast or adding too much in at once or try to totally rip things out and replace them with like a whole new process, I just think that's not going to work for people. And so I'd say, like, experiment, test, and incrementally build AI into your existing workflow of things you're already doing. Don't try and rewrite your entire workflow, push everybody into a different direction because you saw some really cool thing on LinkedIn and then you did something that kind of sort of looked like that.
Yeah, that's such good advice. Like, don't just jump into it all. Like, be measured but experiment. I have a little like note on my notes app that, like, whenever I have an idea of something that I think AI can make more efficient, I just put it in the note. I don't do the thing. I don't execute the idea immediately. I put it on the list. And then when I have some time to like build something out or experiment, I've got an hour or a couple hours and I want to try something, I look at my list and I go, what's going to have the biggest impact of all the ideas that have come across? Maybe something I saw on LinkedIn or something I read in an article or a dream I had, but just that pause and not kind of jumping in and doing everything. That burnout is real.
The burnout's really real. And it's like when I started shifting over to using Claude and I started using Cowork and Claude Code a little bit, I found it really good to hit the limit. Like, I found it very satisfying to just go, okay, great, I hit the limit. Now I can't do anything with this for the next 3 hours. Like, I need to return to my normal job. Right. Like, if people don't, you need some sort of mechanism that stops you from becoming too insane about AI stuff.
Totally. Some human interaction, maybe some sunshine helps.
Yeah, like maybe some sunshine, but it's like, yeah, because it's like, for us, I've seen, we saw, I think it was like, let me see, it's like maybe 20%, 15, 20% of people just feel like they're producing, 50% more videos now. After using AI. It's like another group of people say like, oh, we feel like we're producing like 30% more videos than we used to. And so it's like, but then all of a sudden you can't the next week or 2 weeks later after somebody says, I've been producing 30% more videos, go, great. If we keep at this trend, you'll be able to produce 90% more videos by the end of the month. Let's set our goal for the next month at 100% more videos, like doubling the amount of videos. That's a terrible idea.
Right. Yeah, that's good advice. Good advice. Now, are there any AI video trends that Wistia is watching right now? Anything you think's coming down the pipe?
We watch everything. We watch everything within video trends. Like, we're really keen on it. I think the things that we see in the area we're mostly focused on now, I'd say, would be like repurposing. Is one of the things we're seeing is that like the average marketer needs to cut videos more to more channels. This has sort of been a long trend, but it's like not only do we need videos physically tailored, okay, maybe the safe space is different on a TikTok video versus on a YouTube Shorts video, maybe where we put it is slightly different, how long it should be, all that. People need a lot of cut downs, and people need those cut downs to happen really easily. And we want to see those videos repurposed really effectively. And so like those are some of the AI video trends we're really focused in on, is that basically that trend around repurposing, clipping, where do you put the video when it's done? How do you get enough versions out of it? How do you get versions that are on brand consistently? That's definitely a big trend that we're focused on now. And I think something that's really been like a long-standing trend of Wistia specifically has always been around things around accessibility. So transcripts, captions. One of the things we're really excited about is like the dubbing and translations. That's hugely valuable. But then we're also even getting into audio descriptions and other areas. And so like the ability to generate audio descriptions was like a very costly thing that had to be done by humans. Now we can generate audio descriptions with AI. And this is a particular area that's pressing for a lot of businesses that market into Europe because of recent changes with the European Accessibility Act now applies to a lot of videos. So it's like one of those things that's like GDPR in that there are changes marketers need to make. And so that's an area where it's like, it's definitely AI is really helpful. It's been something Wistia is really committed to. There are some things like the European Accessibility Act, which is pushing these things forward and should be top of mind for marketers. So that's a key area. And then the repurposing story. I think there are other trends we're really watching, which we would call synthetic video. So backgrounds, animations, all the way up to avatars. I think we're in the sort of, we tend towards the like animations, captions, motions, transition side of things versus a fully fleshed out person.
Yeah, interesting. All right. Well, we're going to be watching along with you. This is an exciting time, and I love this conversation. I feel like it really kind of simplifies a lot of the potential of where AI can create a lot of value in video, and not just in, creating fake videos, but actually throughout the process. And so, thank you so much for coming on and talking about this today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I had a great time. And if anybody has any questions or anything I can help with, like you can always just reach out to me. My email is sbalter@wistia.com.
Awesome. Make sure you guys are following Sam and reach out to him if you have questions. We'll make sure you have access to the AI video report as well from Wistia, so you can get your hands on that. Thanks for listening in today. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and we will see you